When folks in this country, particularly women, turn 50, the world starts to When folks in this country, particularly women, turn 50, the world employers see them as less valuable and thus are more likely to discriminate against them. Hollywood portrays them as unattractive and even washed up. In many cases, they are simply invisible. Well, the world may tend to forget mature women, but a lot of older women are finding their second acts and setting the world on fire. Two of those women are joining me this morning, all coming up next.
Live from Los Angeles, this is the Special Report.
Turning 40, 50, or even 60 doesn't have to mean it's time to retire to a rocking chair and daily grandma duties. Many mature women are discovering life after middle age, and they are finding that it offers opportunity to achieve unthinkable personal and professional milestones, to look good and have the best times of their lives. Let's meet a couple of these dynamic women. Here from my leadoff panel is returning guest Robbie Montgomery, affectionately known as Miss Robbie from the award-winning and uber-popular Oprah Winfrey Show, Welcome to Sweetie Pies. She is a successful entrepreneur, cookbook author, former singer with Ike and Tina Turner, and in her second act, she is pursuing a solo singing career. She has a new single out, Ain't My Stuff Good Enough? And I'm so happy to welcome back to the program, Miss Robbie. Good morning, Miss Robbie.
Good morning. Hi. Thank you for having me.
Well, full disclosure, anyone that's watched the show before and you saw Miss Robbie on before, you know she's my aunt. Been in my life since day one in St. Louis, and I'm one of her biggest fans. And I'm so happy to have her back. When she was here before, we were talking about this new single. And she's back today to share some information about that single. But before we talk about that, I got to ask you about the restaurant business. So many people know you from the show, Welcome to Sweetie Pies. They've stood in long lines to go to your restaurants in St. Louis and other cities. So what's going on right now in the restaurant business? We know COVID is kind of, we're turning the corner with it. But are you back full blast in your restaurants in St. Louis and now in Jackson, Mississippi?
Well, we're not completely back. We're open 100%, but employees right now is the problem. You can't find enough employees to run it 100%. And so that is the problem. But we are opening and we're fighting, hanging in there, working with a short staff. So we cut our days a couple of days, to make things work. But we're still opening and doing the best we can with running both restaurants.
Well, okay, if anyone's in St. Louis, you're in Jackson, Mississippi, you heard Miss Robbie say both of her uber successful restaurants, Sweetie Pies, are open. So go and get some of the best soul food you've ever had in your life. Her macaroni and cheese is legendary. So if you haven't had it, you got to make sure you get some of her macaroni and cheese. But in addition to running successful restaurants in two different cities, hundreds of miles, thousands of miles apart, you are pursuing one of your lifelong dreams, which is your singing career. And,
Yes.
again, people who've been living under a rock may not know you've been singing for a really long time.
A long time. I was a doo-wopper.
How did you discover your gift, your talent, your musical talent?
Well, I started in the Baptist church singing, and then we started singing outside on the bench, as they call doo-wopping. And then finally, somebody gave us the opportunity to sing in the clubs to become professional. I did that with a guy named Art Lassiter. And we used to go around the clubs every night, sing behind him in St. Louis. And then Ike Turner asked him to do the lead on Fool in Love. And something happened. I mean, we rehearsed it and had studio time and all that. And then he and Ike had some kind of misunderstanding. I think it was over money. I'm not sure. But Tina was a background singer with us. And since we were already at the studio and Art didn't show up, she told Ike that she knew how to lead the song. She knew the song. And since we had the time, Ike said, well, you all go on in there and record it. We recorded the song. The song was a hit. And so after that, Ike came and offered me a job. He like, if the song is a hit, we're going on the road. And if you want to go, as long as I got a job, you got one. And I took him up on that offer. And it's been history. I mean, I left St. Louis with them. We moved to California and continued just touring. Ike had his review. Back in that days, was like 3 people, James Brown, Ike Turner, and I think Bobby Bland had a review. And we were out there, 3 girls, Tina making the 4th person. She became the lead and had 2 male singers. And we just had a review and went around the world touring. I mean, we toured every night, traveled by bus. Things were segregated. We could sing in the white clubs, but we couldn't mingle. So we would go in our dressing room till it was time for us to come on. Didn't really have dressing rooms. It was like a closet or something, or a storage room. And we went in there dressed. Sometimes we dressed on the bus and just went on the road. And that's been like so many years, I can't even tell you. And I just continued, stayed with Ike, went from Ike to Dr. John, and was always singing, then got into the background singing, started providing background for everybody. So I've always, singing is my first love. I always say that, and chicken is second. So, so after having all these years, I think I've been in the restaurant business maybe 30 years or more. And the restaurants, I was just totally blessed. They were successful. We became a tourist attraction. And then Oprah offered us in my 70s, I got the opportunity to do Welcome to Sweetie Pies. So it's
let's just stop right there. In
Okay.
your 70s, you blew up and became like one of the biggest reality star TV stars in reality TV at 70.
Yes, in my 70s, I'm still pinching myself. I can't believe, because it was something that I didn't really want to do after being on the road for so many years. I'm finally getting the opportunity to be home in one place. And then this opportunity to do the TV show. And I was like, do I do it? First, I was really hesitant. Then I'm like, this is just another opportunity, because you're always trying to, me personally, reinvent myself, because everything wears out. I mean, you can only wear one pair of shoes so long, and then you got to get a new pair. So that's the way I look at life. I need a new pair of shoes. And when that came, I just jumped on the opportunity, and it was successful. And people started coming, from all over the world. It was just, like I say, to this day, it's not a job. It's something I like to do. I'm a people person. So this was an opportunity. Wow. And I took it. Yeah.
Most people would have been frightened to death, but you already had been on stage, so you knew what the life was like. You had been, in front of the camera. So, but still, in your 70s, that was a pretty big, accomplishment to go from being at home, cooking in a restaurant, to now. But I guess who says no to Oprah Winfrey? Probably no one, right?
You know what? It's not really something that, like I say, today I'm still pinching myself, because it's just happening. Seems like it's happening so fast, but it's been over 30 years. I did the TV show for 7 years. We did 100 episodes, 2 NAACP awards. So it's just, started going back over and over and over. So it's been really, really amazing that this stuff is happening like it is. And now I'm reinventing myself again.
Yes, so, let's talk about this. I don't know if we can call it your second act. I don't know. Maybe this is like your 10th act or something, because you've had so many successful endeavors. But I was reading, I always like to do my research, even though I know your history, but I was like, maybe there's something out there I missed. So I saw this article, my producer found this article from 2018 in the St. Louis paper, where it's talking about that concert that you did as you were relaunching your solo, not background singing career, but your solo singing career at the Sheldon Concert Hall. And that you were 78 years old.
Yes.
Doing that concert.
Yes. Well, I tell people I'm a Gemini, it's 2 of me. So the other one decided, let's get back out there and do it again. You got one tail feather left, so let's shake it off. And so that's what I'm pursuing now. I finished my song, my video, I think came out today on YouTube. And people have been so responsible. Everybody's saying they like it. And so I'm just overwhelmed with, enthusiasm just to keep going. I don't know what I'm gonna do next. I might become a movie star. I don't know.
Hey, everything is on the table at this point. But one thing that article in 2018 says, you were getting ready for that concert, and that was, you were releasing then, They Call Me Miss Robbie.
Yes.
They said you were nervous, that even though, you had been out there with Ike and Tina Turner, some of the biggest, artists in the music business, that you still were getting a little nervous about that 2018 concert.
I'm nervous right to this moment. The moment before you go on those butterflies. I mean, I'm never overconfident. I'm just scared all the time. And wanting people to like you and wanting to give a great performance, all that takes a part. And then right before you step on that stage, me personally, I get nervous. I get scared. I still do that today. I don't know how many songs I've sang and how many people I've been behind. But when you're doing it yourself, it's a whole different ball game. Am I going to be good? Do they like me? I hope they like my song. And so I'm trying to get to the Grammys one time, because I've been at the Grammys many times singing behind other people. I'm like, I want my own Grammy. Yeah. And so that's what I'm pursuing now. And we finally finished the song and it's out there.
Well, we're going to talk a lot about that song, but I want to talk about Saturday night. So here we are Monday morning and you're looking beautiful and vibrant, but Saturday night you were on the stage at a concert in your own restaurant and concert venue in Jackson, Mississippi. You were opening for the legendary blues singer, Bobby Rush.
Yes.
What was that like being again back on stage in your own venue, singing, opening up for Bobby, who's I don't know, been around in the blues R&B world for 70 years, because he's like late 80s.
Yes. And you know what, I was still nervous again, even though I was in my own space, my restaurant, and just opening up for Bobby Rush. It was like, oh, am I gonna be the same thing? I hope I'm good. I hope people like me. I hope they come. That right there will give you a heart attack at 80. So trying to contain myself, just go out there and do what I do. And it turned out pretty good. But I was still nervous the whole time, because this is the first one I've done with, in years. So I was still nervous. I think I'm gonna be nervous, but I'm just gonna go on anyway. The show must go on. That's the saying.
Well, we have a photo of you, this time you and your backup singer. So you're not the backup singer. You have your own band. You have your own singers that perform behind you. We also have a clip of Saturday night's concert. I want to play a clip of
that. Do you? Okay.
Let's fire up that clip, Rashad. So what I love about this clip is, look at all that energy. I'm like, okay, Miss Robbie. Where do you get that kind of energy in your 80s to be on a stage, not just standing in front of a mic singing, but I mean, you got some moves going on up there. You're moving around, A lot of young people couldn't be up there on stage with those lights and doing all of that. So
this is what I love to do. In fact, I love entertaining. I'm a people person, and I like to get out and mingle and do everything. I mean, all day in the restaurant, I walk out, hug babies, kiss parents, take pictures and stuff like that. So I work with Dr. John, so I like to do some type of finale at the end of my show, and that was what we used to do down in New Orleans. So I figured, well, maybe let me just throw it in the show and everybody can participate and have a good time. And that's what that was, the end of the finale of my show last Saturday night.
Wow. Well, it looked amazing. It looked like you were having, like you said, when you're passionate about something, it's not work. You can just tell the kind of, excitement that you have. Let's talk about this new single. This debut single, like you said, the video from the single dropped today on YouTube. It's called Ain't My Stuff Good Enough. So did you write this song?
Well, you know what? My girlfriend wrote that song, and that song has a story. In fact, I found out this year, my girlfriend wrote that song for us 40 or 50 years ago. It was too, I'll use the word nasty back then. So they kind of banned the song and didn't get the radio play. And so I always loved that song. And I'm like, if I ever get the opportunity, Then I find out recently that Martha and the Vandellas had recorded it after the Murettes, which we were the Icats, re-recorded it. And then I didn't know that. But I always wanted to do that song because I always believed in it, thought it was a hit. So when I got the opportunity this time and the title fits anything, it doesn't mean sex. It could mean my chicken, my macaroni and cheese, my friendship, anything. Ain't my stuff good enough? So either how you treat people, whatever. And so then I got the opportunity and I put it back out, had some young people help me with rephrasing and bringing it up to date and put it back out. And then the music business has changed so much. They tell me, well, you got to do a lyric video. I'm like, a lyric video? Never heard of that. And so we did that. And then we had to do the visual, the actual video. And that came out today on YouTube. So I'm hoping everybody likes it and play it, buy it, whatever you have to do to it. Because I'm trying to get to the Grammys and I need everybody's help.
Wow, well, we got a clip from the video too, from the new song, "Ain't My Stuff Good Enough." Let's fire that up for Shy too. I want
Okay,
to get a
all
taste
right.
of this new song. Okay, now I'm loving this stage, royal blue dress, hair blowing.
I tell you, what can I say? All right, I got to keep up. You know, I'm reinventing myself. I got to keep up with everything.
Oh my God, that's a gorgeous, gorgeous photo of you and that video. I can't wait, for folks to see the whole. I don't want to play the whole thing because I want people to go, like I said, download it, view it on YouTube, like it, share it with all of their friends.
Right.
But what was it like being back out, not just singing this song, but making this video? Like you said, everything has changed since you were in the music business, in the 70s. So what was that like?
Well, it was a sort of a first for me doing my own video and going to the different locations and trying to, be perfect, always trying to be perfect. So it was something new, but then the outcome when I saw it, I'm proud of it. I really am. So I'm looking forward to doing more. I did 5 songs, so I'll keep moving on. And then I don't know how long it's going to last. And then I reinvent myself again. I might take skydiving and anything. I mean, as long as I'm still around, I got breath, I still got a shot.
So I know, I follow you on social media and I see every time you post something, just all the comments that flow in, they get posted, all the love that people give you. And you and I talked on Saturday morning before the concert. I was calling to give you some love and congratulate you. And you told me that people were calling you from all over the country saying how much they love you. But do you ever get anybody that says to you, "Girl, you need to sit down. You're a grandma. You're doing too much"? Do you ever get those kind of comments?
They don't say it. They probably think it's some people, but I don't listen to them. This is my life, my body, my vision. So I'm just going for it. I mean, some things I think I'm too old for, but I get up every morning and do what I do and enjoy. And people have, like I say, people tell me how much they love me. They support me. I inspire people my age, tell me that I inspire them. So as long as I'm doing this, I'm going to keep on going. Younger people come up, "Miss Robbie, I want to be like you. I want to look like Miss Robbie." And they're like, "What do you use?" And I'm like, "Chicken grease, honey, chicken grease."
Well, I told you when you were on the show before, people were texting me, "Ask Miss Robbie who did her work." I'm like, "What work?"
Right. Hey, I haven't had any yet, but I'm not ashamed. If I got the money when I need it, I'll go get it. I don't have no problem with it. I don't have no problem.
No shame in that, for sure.
Yeah, tell them use chicken grease like I do, honey. Vaseline and chicken grease.
So I know you're inspired a lot, like you said, people your age, you're inspired, you're inspiring younger people. But who's your inspiration, particularly in the music business? Who inspires?
Well, in the music, Well, I've worked with Tina forever, and so she was still working. And it's one thing about, I don't care what if you're trying to make a cake until you perfect that cake, you still kind of go after it, trying to get it right. And that's how it is with life until you get to a place where you feel you're satisfied. I mean, I think there's still more in me that I want to do. And so I'm just going to keep doing it. I'd like to travel, be able to go to work when I want to. I haven't acquired all those things yet. So there's a lot. And when people come and tell me that I inspire them to continue, a man told me last night, he said, after I saw you on stage, I'm like, I could do that. And he said he went out and did a concert and it turned out well. He said they had a lot of people. So if people like that motivate you to keep doing things, whatever it is that you feel you want to attempt to do, I think everybody should go for it. I don't care if it's a lemonade stand, just make the best lemonade. Just make the best. Make yours different from everybody else, but better. And people will support you. I try and support everybody. If I hear anything happening, restaurant, store, whatever, I at least go to it once to support them, because it's hard being in that position myself, depending on the public to motivate you and support you is very important. I do that all the time.
So you've been through a lot, Miss Robbie. We
Yes.
don't talk about the particulars, but you've come through a lot, and we're
Yes.
in an era right now in this country where we're talking a lot about racism. And I know you
Yes.
said when you were coming up singing with Ike and Tina Turner, you sang in segregated clubs where you all could sing, but you could not even mingle with the white people who were in those clubs. How
Yes.
has sexism and racism impacted your career? Do you feel like it's held you back, that you would be further in your singing career if it wasn't for race or sex?
I think I probably would, but I don't let that stop me because I'm still facing this day. It's sort of undercover nowadays. But as a Black person, I recognize it when I come up on it. And so like people say, if you see crazy, cross the street, just keep going. You don't have to sit there and go face to face with it. Just deal with it, go around it. There's ways to get around everything, but it's still here today. And like right now for me, I'm 80 in my 80s. Most people think 80 is old, but nowadays 80 is still young as long as you can get around. I'm not handicapped or nothing like that, thank God. But I'm going to just keep pursuing everything and ignore the racism because it might still be here when I'm gone. So I'm going to just take my time and do what I do right now. But racism is still here. And I don't want to be negative and say it'll always be here because I won't always be here. But as long as I'm here, I'm going to deal with it, face it, and just do what I have to do to get by myself.
Wow, that's such an incredible way to deal with it. And you're in the deep South. You're in Jackson, Mississippi.
Yeah.
In some ways, different Jackson today, but still the deep South. So I know that racism is still alive and very
Yes.
well in the South as it is all over this country. But I want to talk about this double standard. So Bobby Rush, I know he's a friend of yours. So
Yes.
we love Bobby. But Bobby
Yes.
is 87, and he won in 2017. He won a Grammy at 83 years
Yeah.
old. And I know that's one of your big goals is to win
Yes.
a Grammy for your music. Do you
Yes.
think that Bobby, because he's a male, was a little easier for him, or what's going on with that? Because
Well, I don't know if because he's a male now, he's a Black male, and he also won a Grammy this year
okay.
at 87. He won one. But one thing with Bobby's category is the blues, and most of them are dying out. And at our age, because Bobby always says, we're the last ones left, me and him. But I'm not a blues singer, but I'm still out here singing at 80. So he always compares that. So I told him, I said, well, you won a Grammy. I was supposed to win the Grammy first. And he said, well, I'll let you be the first female. So, there's a difference. He's a male, he's got two. And I'm a female at 80, still out here trying to get one. But I don't know if it's racism or the people that runs the Grammy or how it's done, because I hear a lot of that myself, because I have not been in the music business, but I'm hearing all these things about racism in the Grammys and all the award shows now. Because I remember times when the Grammys and all that stuff was Black. And, we did things back there. And now all of a sudden it seems like all the award shows are taken over by the white people. And so I don't know if that's the way life goes, because I was born in Mississippi, but I never lived here. Now I'm at 80, I'm living here and loving it. So, but when I was younger, we got to get out the South, that was the thing to do. But racism is still here. I meet it sometimes, some people, I was in the line one day. I've had my COVID shots and had my mask on, and I was in the line behind a white woman, and I coughed. And she looked at me like, this black woman back here coughing, giving me something. She didn't even have on a mask or nothing. And I'm like, you the one got probably giving me something. So I don't know if it plays a part. I'm just using that as an example. But racism is still alive and well.
Yeah.
And well.
But like you said, if you see crazy on one side of the street, you just cross
I
the street
cross.
and keep
I
moving.
cross, yeah.
Okay,
I want to be right.
The video is dropped today. Again, want to remind
Yes.
people, Ain't My Stuff Good Enough? YouTube, the video is there. You can download the single on all
Yes.
platforms. It's on iTunes, it's on Spotify, Tidal, and Pandora. You can download it.
Yes.
What's next? Tour, you and Bobby Rush maybe hooking up, doing a duet. Have you guys ever sang together?
Never. That's a great idea. And I'm going to pursue that. You just gave me my next invention. Maybe Bobby and I'll do something together. I'm going to present that to him.
I can imagine that there's good chemistry. You've known each other for decades. He's singing, you're singing. That might be a good thing to do.
I like it. And I'm going to present it to him today. When I get off this phone, I'm going to call him and let's do something together. Because you never know. I mean, you got to put your irons in the fire everywhere. Just lay the iron down. And some of it might happen.
So any plans to go on the road, to do any tours with the new single? And I know there are 5 other songs that are coming up.
Yeah. Well, I don't really mind. I don't want to do that. When I was out there, we toured every night, different city. I don't have the energy for that. But I would like to go around because I love performing and I love being in front of the people and stuff like that. So maybe once a month or once every other month, but I definitely don't want to go back to the 60s where we stayed out there all night. I don't want to do that. That's no fun. But I really would like to keep doing it for a minute. I got to get that Grammy.
You got to get that Grammy.
Got to get that Grammy.
Everybody says, Miss Robbie, this duet, that might be your ticket. You and Bobby do some incredible remake of a song. My producer said maybe you guys do a soulful remake of Endless Love or something, or the two of you.
Tell him I said thank you, and that's a good song to try to do. That's a good song.
Yeah, so we just want you to know the special report. We love you. We're gonna push out the song. Again, it's on all streaming platforms, iTunes, Spotify, Tidal, Pandora. It's Ain't My Stuff Good Enough. The YouTube, the video is hot. This is a hot video. It's amazing. So go out there, download that video, download the song, and support Miss Robbie. Because anybody at 80 who's still out there doing what she's doing at the highest level deserves all of our support. I just love you, and I can't wait to see you in person. But again, thank you so much for joining me this morning, and we're going to continue to send you our love and support you in all endeavors. And that Grammy, they say if you put something out in the universe, right?
That's right.
Manifested. So
that's right. Thank you, my darling, and I'm loving you more and more every day, and I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
God bless.
All right. Talk to you soon, Auntie. All right. We're talking to women today. Bye-bye. We're talking to women today who are not letting age or gender bias or race or anything prevent them from pursuing their second act. And I'm calling it a second act. And really, for some of these amazing women, it's maybe their third or fourth act. My next guest, she's also pursuing a career in the entertainment field. She is a retired educator turned comedian. I want to welcome to the special report, Patricia Forehand. Good morning, Patricia. I think your audio, Patricia.
Yes.
All right. Good morning, Patricia.
Good morning, and thank you for having me on. This is exciting.
Oh, my pleasure. So let's just jump right in, Patricia. You were a public school teacher for 32 years, right?
Yes, elementary. Taught first, second, and third grade at different points in my career. So, yep.
Okay, so how does a public school teacher teaching, elementary school decide that they want a career in the entertainment business?
Well, towards the end of teaching, I was doing a lot of teacher workshops. And I actually had a friend, a coworker, who came up to me and said, "You need to do stand up when you retire." And of course, I said no, because I just didn't think that was possible. I'm from a small town, and that would be like a dream that you would think you couldn't reach. So I said no, but then I started thinking about it. I'm always telling my students to go for their dreams and to work hard and to do what they want to do to achieve their dreams. So why wasn't I doing it? So I signed up for an open mic, and a bunch of my friends went along with me, and I did it, and I was just hooked from that moment on.
So wait a minute. I read a story that you were actually, I guess, giving a talk or you were telling a joke at a retirement party for a fellow teacher. Is that the event that led your friend to say, "Hey, you should pursue comedy"?
Yes, actually, it definitely was. I was talking about the funny things about teaching, and they were all roaring with laughter. So I think that was it. I think that was the time that she said, "Go for it." And I mean, I was so glad that I went to that club. I had never even gone to bars before or anything. So the whole experience was, new to me. And it was just amazing. It was wonderful. I couldn't live without doing it now. So,
Well,
yeah.
when people think of comedians, they always think of the kid that was the classroom clown or the kid that was always clowning around in school. Were you that kid?
I was that kid. I was the jokester. I was the one who always had something funny to say. At school, I tried to be more professional, but of course, I always loved the kid that joked around in the classroom too. I always loved the class clown. Um, so yeah, and I think too, being a teacher, you're entertaining children anyway. I mean, you have to be entertaining to be a teacher to keep their attention. So it just was like a natural thing to go from teaching to comedy. But my comedy's different because I'm a little naughty with my comedy. I think that's why it's I've got that little place right there that no one's expecting that to come out of my mouth. So
Okay, so who are I heard I know from reading about you that you said you were this maybe considered yourself kind of a prim and proper lady, grow up in a small town, met your husband at 16, was
yeah.
following the traditional role that was set out for women, educator, nurse, or some things that all women in your generation were supposed to do. So how did you break out of this, this persona that had been defined for you by other people?
Well, I tell you, when I was growing up, I watched a lot of SNL, and I love people like Carol Burnett and Gilda Radner and Richard Pryor and Robin Williams, and I always thought, I want to do that. But again, it was something that I sat on the back burner because I thought, I have to do something practical, something that's within reach. So I think that when I got on that stage, it was as if something, I released something, and it just turned me into a different person because I am more open now. And I just think, for all those years I was teaching, I was trying to be such a good role model that I probably overdid it.
Mhm.
I was just prim and proper even at home. You would never hear a cuss word come out of my mouth or anything. But I don't know, after I stood on that stage and did that comedy, it was like I felt like I could be myself. I know that sounds weird, but it's like I was always meant to do that. Maybe not earlier in life. I think this was the right time for me to do it. But I think I was always meant to do this. So it just felt natural, and it felt so good. It really did. So,
Well, I know you hadn't even traveled a lot, right?
right.
Before you started doing stand up, and the thought of traveling to even Atlanta from your small town was a little overwhelming for you.
Oh, it was scary. I mean, I'm from a small town, so when we went to Atlanta, we would, all go together because it was the parking mainly, because you know, I'm so afraid I was going to get lost in Atlanta or not know where to park, because we just pull into a parking lot. There you have parking garages, you have parking lots where you pay, you know, it's all that kind of weird stuff. So yeah, I'm not a big city girl, so I was scared to death, but I decided I was going to do it. And my husband was all for it. He said, because he's always kind of known that I like that kind of thing, and he's always thought I was funny too, even though he thinks he's funnier. But so he kind of pushed me to pursue my dreams, but I had to call him like I was a teenager every time I got to wherever I was going, and you know, I'd have to call him mid-show and say I'm still okay, and you know, he bought me like a zapper and all this stuff, you know, so I would be safe in Atlanta, just silly stuff. But yeah, I was frightened to death. But I'm going to tell you now, I love it. It's like a second home. And I'm not only going to Atlanta, you know, I'm going to Kentucky, I'm going to North Carolina, I'm going to Tennessee. I went to Hagerstown, Washington. I mean, the world is opening up for me.
Wow. So tell us, Patricia, you came at this, you were over 50 when you started this second career as a comedian. I would imagine that at a lot of these shows in Atlanta and some of these other big cities, most of the comics are probably, you know, a little younger. How was that? You know, what was the reception like when you would meet these comics on stage or behind, you know, stage in the green room? You know, what would they say to you?
Well, I know at first, you know, I would get these looks like, who is this old lady? You know, and is she going to be, what is she here for? But I think once I started getting on stage and they saw that I was really funny and they saw, you know, what I could do, they accepted me. And I'm going to tell you, there's a comedian in Atlanta named Lace Larrabee, and she does so much for female comedy. I took 2 of her classes, and she has been my biggest advocate. She is always telling bookers about me. She's the one who told Washington Post about me. Anyway, she's trying to change comedy for women by putting us out there and getting us shows. And so I think because I had her, you know, it made the path easier. I
Mhm.
think I was accepted before I took her class, but I think getting shows would have been harder. But I think when she started putting me out there and telling people she can do it, just watch her, just give her a chance. And I would go on and do it, and the crowd would love me. And, you know, then people kept going, okay, Patty, come to this show, do this show, do. So I think it's because of her and the way she is changing the role of females in comedy in Atlanta and other places. You know, and
Wow.
I'm hoping there's other people like her that do it elsewhere.
That's
So,
incredible, and you're right. Sometimes you just need that extra push from someone. I asked Miss Robbie, who's older than you. Obviously, she's in her early 80s, Patricia. But you may get this question too. Do you have people saying to you, "Oh, you know, you should be at home knitting," or you know, you should be at home doing the grandmother thing. What are you doing out here? You know, in nightclubs, in bars, telling jokes. Do you ever get those kind of comments from people?
oh yes, but you know I couldn't knit a baby booty if I wanted to. So, but yes, at the beginning especially because some of my friends that I taught with, you know, I would send them some of my tapes of my shows, and like I said, I am a little naughty. I'm not gross or anything, but I'm a little naughty. And you know, some of my friends would go, "Oh, that's aren't you embarrassed to say things about that or whatever?" And it would be like, "No, you know, I'm not." So, you know, because I talk about life and I talk about my husband and a lot about my husband, a lot of jokes about him, but all positive. But yeah, I think at first people were shocked and they were like, "You shouldn't be doing that. You know, you're an older woman and you shouldn't be making those kind of jokes." But now I think everybody's accepting it for what it is, and all I get is encouragement mostly. I think the people who don't want me to do it are silent now. I
Okay,
did have
those
some of the
voices have been silenced. Very good. So you keep saying you're naughty, Patricia. Some of your comedy, you talk a lot about sex,
yeah.
and sex as folks are getting older. Why that topic? Well, you know, why jokes about sex and sex as folks age?
I don't know. It was funny. The first class that I took, it was taught by Marshall Childs, and he told us to find our voice, and we did all these things. And for goodness sakes, my voice must be dirty because it's like I think it's also because around that time, both of my children, you know, had grown up and moved out of the house. And so my husband and I, we're empty nesters. And so, we just had a lot of fun. We were like, oh my gosh, we haven't done this in so long. The freedom to have your whole house by yourself and, to act like teenagers if you want to. I think I was going through that. And so a lot of my jokes were about things like that. And I didn't mean them to be. I didn't set out to do that. But for some reason, every time I write, I always have something that goes back to something like that. They're not all sex jokes. In fact, I do comedy shows for educators and motivational shows and things like that. And, I'm not talking about that naughty stuff, but I do like that naughty stuff because I was never allowed to talk about it. As a teacher, I was never, I was trying to be so proper and, we had sex, but, it was like nothing that I really talked about or anything. And I think I'm coming into my own now. I'm not Patty the teacher or Patty the daughter or whatever. Now I'm like myself, and I'm seeing sides of myself that I never saw before.
Wow. What do you think? I'm glad you said that, Patricia or Patty. I'm glad you said that. You're coming into your own. You're discovering parts of your personality that either were there and you repressed, or maybe they weren't even there. You've evolved into it. But why do you think so many women, particularly women, who are older than 50, wear that mask? Do you think it's society? Do you think it's, just the way they're raised? Or what do you think that is?
I think that I was trying to be what people wanted me to be and what they, I was trying to be their perception of me. And I thought that was what I was supposed to do. I was, like I said, small town, all that stuff. And I think that I just saw myself as this cliche, that I had to be a certain way and say certain things and, talk a certain way. And I couldn't be myself. And I think too, I was so burdened by, do I look good enough? Am I smart enough? You have all these insecurities when you're younger, at least I did. Not everybody, but I did. I had insecurities, and I never knew that I could really just be myself because I didn't think that would be good enough. I think I'm at the point now where I don't care if it's not good enough. If it's making me happy, I'm okay with it. So I think that was the difference. And I think a lot of women feel like they have to take on those roles and play that role, of being a wife or a mother or whatever. And they get to a point where they go, dang, I'm getting towards that end. I got to do the things I want to do. So I don't know. I mean, that's my thoughts on it.
No, that's excellent. And I'm sure a lot of women are sitting at home thinking the same thing. Like, yeah, I'm living the life that somebody wants me to live or expects me to live. It's not necessarily the life I want to live. Did you have any concerns, though, Patty? Again, here you are, a mother, a former school teacher. You're starting this second career. You're over 50. Did you think that, you would be able to connect with younger audiences, the audiences that are typically going to comedy clubs and going to these kinds of shows?
Well, I tell you, taking those classes and finding out that these people who are in their 20s and 30s, they really like what I'm doing, and they understand and they can connect to it. I think that helped me. I think if somebody did this and they just started comedy, that they might have that feeling of I'm not connecting, but I went through classes and I did open mics and I did all that stuff before I even started getting, regular shows. And I think that was so helpful, getting that feedback and getting those people, who were patting me on the back and encouraging me. And the audiences, having those reactions from the audiences, that propels you to keep going because they're not going to laugh at you. I've seen them. They're not going to laugh at you if they don't think you're funny. They're not going to go, oh, let's laugh just to make her feel good. They don't do that. They came, they paid money. They're not going to sit there and laugh at somebody that doesn't make them laugh. So when you get that feedback, it is genuine. And so it just propels you to do it more. So I don't think I had that fear. I think after getting on that stage that first time, and it was a college group. I mean, they were all young, like in their 20s, except for my friends that were old. But yeah, the way they reacted, and they came up to me after that open mic, and they were like, "You need to do this for a living," And these were the 20 and 30-year-old people, and I was like, "Dang, okay, maybe this is something I can do."
Right.
So I think that kind of pushed all the don'ts and can'ts and all that out of my head. So
Well, here you are now. Like I said, you're featured in this wonderful article in the Washington Post about women over 50 who are, coming into their second careers, their third careers, and finding joy and satisfaction, making money, and really, living their best lives. What advice do you have, Patty, for someone that's out there that's, over 50, over 60, or maybe in the case of Miss Robbie, in their 80s? Who are thinking that, look, I got my health, I'm in great health, I feel good, I got my mind, all of my faculties, I want to do something, and it's not the something that society has told women that they should do, sit at home, cook for their families, babysit their grandkids. What advice do you have for those women?
I say do not focus on the things that you think are keeping you from doing it, because we spend so much time going, we're not pretty enough, I'm not this, I'm not that. Don't focus on any of that. Get a plan in place of what you want to do and how you can do it, and then go for it, because the longer you sit there and debate it, the more time passes. Just like that Nike thing that used to say, just do it, just do it, just do it.
Well, you are clearly just doing it, and we can tell from your smiles and your energy that you are having a great time doing it. Where can people follow you, Patty? Where can they learn about, where you're going to be performing? If they live in any of these cities where you have shows coming up, how can they, keep up with you?
Well, they can follow me on Facebook, Patricia Forehand. They can follow me on Instagram, Forehand Patricia. And I do have a podcast out there too. It's called Badass Boomer Babes. And they could follow me on that podcast because I do tell about upcoming shows. Yeah, and also I will be in Michael Clinton, the nonfiction writer. He has a book that's going to be released in September about roar into the second part of your life. And he did an interview with me for that book and other great, wonderful people who are doing amazing things. So that'll be out in September. So look for that.
Wow, that's incredible. Thank you so much, Patty, for sitting down with me this morning. Good luck with your career. Uh, Other than doing more shows, anything else on the horizon for you? Any other things that you haven't been able to do that you're like, I'm going for it?
Well, I've been doing a little bit of acting, trying to get out there and do some acting. So, I've had some character and background roles and a couple of things coming out. Um, and I'm just hoping to go. I want to go on a tour. I want to get out there in the West because I've been mainly in the East. So I'm thinking about putting together a tour with some of my good comic friends and doing that. So yeah, I just want to keep going and keep taking the blessings that God has given me and running with them.
All right, you want to hit the road. Fantastic. Well, I hope that you will get out to the West Coast. I'm here in California. And if I see you with the show coming up anywhere near Southern Cal, you can make sure I'll be there cheering you on. You are inspiration for women of all ages. So much there about your life. I think so many women will find parallels with and will resonate with them. Thank you for sharing your story and keep telling those jokes and make them as dirty as you please.
Okay, yay! All right, thank you, and I adore you. Thank you so much for having me on the show. You are amazing.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Patty. All right, what an inspiring show. Again, thanks to Miss Robbie and to Patty for joining me this morning. Thanks to all of you for joining me. I always get inspired. I love these shows where I get to talk to amazing and dynamic women. And these two women are just proving all of the critics and all of the haters and the naysayers wrong. Anybody that's sitting there thinking that when you get to a certain age, whether that's 40, 50, 60, 70, or in Miss Robbie's case, 80, that life is over. These women are proving that you are dead wrong, that there is lots of life to be living until you can't live it any longer. So don't let age or sexism or racism or any of those isms that are traditionally taught to women in particular, although men are told, at a certain age are things they shouldn't do. But this really, really is, something that women that we're told very early on, these very traditional roles that we're supposed to have, which is why I have a new book coming out in September called Awakening. which is all about the lies that women have been told. And I go through the 5 top lies that women have been told, and I debunk those lies, these lies that hold us back, that tell us we're not good enough. As Patricia said, we're not pretty enough, we're not smart enough, that we should be at home raising kids alone without the fathers or other parent, and just that somehow we're not able to do and achieve at the same level of men. So you'll be hearing a lot more about my book Awakening, and I'll be sharing real life stories of women like Miss Robbie and Patty that have let those lies hold them back. And then I'm also going to profile in the book. I profile some incredible women who, despite being told those lies, were able to achieve incredible success. So super excited. I'll be on my own tour coming up in the fall, going around the country talking to women, primarily groups of women, about awakening and how they can break through and they can break free from those lies and live their best lives, no matter again what age they are. Because as we've all been told and we've heard many times before, age ain't nothing but a number. All right, some words to live by before I get out. Think passion. Think passion. What we saw today from these 2 women is passion. Miss Robbie, her love for singing is a passion that she's had. She says since a teenager that it was cultivated in the Baptist church that she grew up in, and she got to travel the world with some of the best singers in the world, and she got to pursue her passion. And we just heard Patty say that her passion has been people and making people laugh. And Patty discovered hers after 50, and Miss Robbie is reinventing herself in her late 70s and now in her 80s. And it's all because they have this passion. So I say to you, find something that you love, something you have always wanted to do, but you felt like you never had the time, you never had the energy, you never had the support. Maybe you didn't think you had the resources. Maybe you didn't think you had the sufficient talents or skills. But these women today are here to let us know that don't let those fears hold you back. Find your passion, pursue it, and remember, it's never, ever too late or too early to find your second act. All right, y'all, I'm out. Be safe out there. Remember, we're all in this together.